Authentic leadership has become a bit of a buzzword over the last few years. And it's rightly so, because there are benefits to authentic leadership that include higher trust, better productivity, better cultures, higher engagement of your employees. But there's also a little bit of misconceptions or some traps that you might tap into if you try to become a more authentic leader. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of these traps and how to avoid them. My name is Anne Koopman and I'm a leadership coach for emerging leaders and an expert and consultant for team development. And on this channel, I share regularly updates and videos with tips around becoming a better leader and also building effective teams. Make sure that you subscribe below so you don't miss out on any further videos. Let's dive straight into and talk about mistake number one. A big thing about authentic leadership is to become self-aware and to understand who you are, what you stand for, what are your strengths, and what you want to be known for. However, it's really important to not mistake high self-awareness with the understanding of the external awareness that your team has of you. So if you are very highly self-aware, make sure that you also check back for feedback regularly to see if your view of yourself is also what's perceived from the others. Do they see your strength in action? Do they see and perceive you as the leader that you want to be? Because even if you are already very self-aware of who you are and what you stand for, that doesn't mean that the others can see it. Sometimes we are even misunderstood for our strengths because sometimes they go a bit into overdrive and we might think that we're using our strength to our advantage, but we're being misunderstood. So sometimes it's really important to check back. What's the external self-awareness? Does this align with what I see from myself? And what other actions can I take to be more perceived like the person that I am? There's a good tool, the Johari window, that you want to check out maybe to help with this exploration of self-awareness versus external awareness. Let's go into mistake number two. Do not overcommit in order to build trust. So big thing about authentic leadership is, of course, that we want to build trust with our employees and with the people that we work with. So we want to make sure that we do what we say we will do and that we lead by example. However, if you overcommit just to try and make right by everyone and try to be the best leader that you can be, you will actually be so stressed and you won't be able to deliver on it, or it will come at a cost of your own well-being. So don't overcommit. Don't think that just because you want to be an authentic leader that wants to build trust and be seen as reliable, that you now have to overcommit and say yes to everything or try and do right by everyone and support everyone in every best way. You're just one person. So be very careful with intentionally committing and saying yes to the things that will help you and your employees the most. Mistake number three is the one that I'm really passionate about. Vulnerability does not mean or is not an excuse for being rude or oversharing. That's a big one. I've heard in the past some people say, well, I'm being authentic, so I'm just being myself and I'm just going to be bluntly and honest. But authentic leadership is not about being rude and blunt and brutally honest. You still have a responsibility to understand the other person, to use your empathy and to think about what is the right way of sharing, how far can I go, and how honest do I want to be with what intention. Because if you're just bluntly honest and rude, you're doing it to hurt the other person, not to be a good leader and help and support them. So you still have a responsibility to think about what comes out of your mouth and how you formulate it, and also at what time you share what you want to share. It's also not an excuse to overshare. So whilst I encourage you to be more vulnerable, to share your vulnerable moments, your struggles, your failures, your moments of insecurity, it's also, of course, not always the right moment in time. And some things are better left by yourself, because if you share too much, it can also make the others feel more insecure and doubt more. It can show that you are maybe not confident right now in your own decisions. So my tip here, if you're not quite sure of when to share and when not to share your stories of vulnerability after you've overcome them. So share them as, 3 months ago, I was going through a phase where I was a bit unsure of what to do next. And this is how I help myself to come out from it. Because then there's an intention of you sharing your experience to support the other person and not just oversharing and putting your load onto the other person and dragging them down with you. You're responsible to manage your emotions well so that you can be there and calm and be the rock for your direct reports, and don't make them feel insecure or doubtful if they see you struggle too much. In saying that, there are moments when they might ask you a question, and of course you can say, I don't know the answer right now, I will get back to you. Those are little moments of vulnerability that are absolutely great throughout the day, and there's no way in oversharing there. But it's about being really, again, being intentional. How much do I want to share of my story, and why? What is the why behind me sharing this? What's the intention behind it? And have I already overcome my bigger problems and issues so I can share it with the perspective of overcoming it rather than being in the middle of it and dragging everyone down with me. Mistake number 4 is that some people choose transparency over being discreet. Here again is an issue where, of course, authentic leaders are supposed to be transparent and not have any hidden agendas. And they should share what they can with their employees to make sure that they feel up to date and they don't feel like you're hiding anything from them. However, there's a few moments where it's important that you are more discreet and you hold back. The first moment is if there's something big going on in the organization and there's a lot of uncertainty on what's going to happen, or you already know that there's going to be thousands of people are going to be let go, but there's no real decision yet on how this process is going to look like, then it's good to just hold your horses a bit and wait a little bit before you just share it. Because if you don't know yet all the circumstances around it, all the details yet, you're just going to scare your employees without it being something that it's actually useful for them, or without even being the rock that they need to guide them through it if you don't have the answers yet. You can say there's something going on. You might have heard the rumors. I'm trying to figure out exactly what are the steps and what's going to happen, and then I will share it with you. And then, of course, it's also about discretion when your employees have shared something with you that is not supposed to be heard by everyone. Just because you want to be transparent doesn't mean that you can share everybody's secrets or things that they have said to you in private, certain things that they're wondering about or are figuring out for themselves. So always check back if you're not sure if you can share it in the big group, but don't just blurt it out, because that also might hurt the trust with your employee. So these were just a few pitfalls that we might fall into when we try and figure out who we are and what our authentic leadership brand actually looks like. And I'm sure there's more to add to this, so make sure you put it in the comments if you have other things that you have observed as being pitfalls to authentic leadership. If you want to learn more about authentic leadership and 8 key characteristics of authentic leaders, check out this video here where I'm sharing 8 things that you can do to be a more authentic leader. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye!